Good afternoon. It is a pleasure to have you here. I would just like to pause and say thank you, Dr. Huffstep. If I'd known she was going to do all that, I'd just said we'll close the book and go home. But it's an example of what goes on in our schools every day and the leadership that we are blessed to have in our school system. Also want to let you know that the majority of our school board is here tonight in support of this, and I will be speaking on their behalf as I share information with you. One of the things that we talk about in Gaston County a lot is we know it's not easy, but it's worth it. And so as we think about education and public education in particular, we look around, and many of you will recognize this individual, Sal Khan, founder of Khan Academy. But do you recognize that in 2008, he had a simple question from his niece: can you please help me with my homework? And now, some 15 years later, they provide a free world-class education to anyone, anywhere. Well, what I would say to you is he is an innovator. And when you think about having vision and being an innovator, you think of this quote from Malcolm Gladwell: an innovator has brilliant ideas, but lacks the discipline and persistence to carry them out is merely a dreamer. Well, we are blessed in our community. The education leaders serving in Gaston County are not only innovators, but they are implementers. And that is what strives us to drive for inspiring success and a lifetime of learning. We're a school system that covers the entire county. And we have the honor of serving a bunch of different communities as that. And what we pride ourselves is that we're a community of schools with community pride, just as you heard Dr. Huffstedler talk about Stanley and the long, rich history of its school. When you think of Gaston County, we are blessed with a lot of natural resources. You heard her talking about birds, streams, and the various things. So we are fortunate that we live in a prosperous area that people can enjoy the way they live. We are 13 distinct communities on the west side of Charlotte. And those 13 distinct communities all have their own personality, and we as a school system serve each of those. And because of our size, we're the 10th largest district in North Carolina from an enrollment standpoint, serving 29,000 students. But it would be easy to sit back and say, well, they're going to come. But we know we're in a changing landscape. And our senior leadership team spends time talking about what is needed in our community and what is our response to our community's wants. You all are familiar with, over the last 20 years, the decline in enrollment in public education, going from 95% down to 80%. In Gaston County, we've dropped into the 86% range. And we recognize homeschooling is the fastest growing segment of our community. But we look to work with homeschoolers. We have charter schools that are in our community, and we have private schools. But we see that as part of choice, that people get to exercise choice, and we want to make sure that they see the choices we offer and what we do every day. So how do we go about doing that? We need to collaborate. And it's easy to say you collaborate and have a meeting, but we've really tried to go beyond just a meeting. We have focus meetings and community talks where we go out and meet and get feedback from our communities. We've even had faith summits where we bring our religious leaders together because they're welcome to be a part of our schools and to serve because they're part of the vibrant fabric of our community. Rotary groups, Optimist clubs, you name a club, we'll provide a speaker for their weekly meetings because we want them to hear about Gaston County. But a great thing that went on in this community back in 2009, the Economic Development Commission put a seat for the Board of Education on their committee. So we're constantly at their meetings, part of the economic development and the discussions that go on. With that comes a vision, and a vision for our school system. And what we know is there are four things that people talk about: our commitment, our communication, being a part of the community, but they really want to hear about choice. Just as you heard Dr. Huffstedler talking about here, Stanley, the choices go on. We know that choice becomes a critical decision factor for all of our parents. But we know it starts with 5 focus areas for us, and the first is highly effective instruction. Without that, what does it matter? And we are fortunate to have highly qualified teachers in our classrooms delivering highly effective instruction. But we also know customer service is such a critical part of what we do. And we strive to serve our community and let them know that we are here as an asset to the community, not just because we were legislated to be here. We also talk about technology, but we stress we don't have technology just to say we use technology. How are we effectively integrating the tool? And that's the question that we ask again and again. Is this the right use of the tool? Because what we know, nothing replaces a highly qualified educator in front of the class, or more importantly, in the middle of the classroom, collaborating with their students. And also facilities we can be proud of. You heard Dr. Hufstetter talk about the evolution of the former building that was here. We are fortunate that with the merger of the creation of the county schools in the 50s, we have a lot of buildings that still stem from that. That doesn't mean those buildings can't look good, can't be well taken care of, maintained, and provide a quality education. But probably one of our biggest focus areas is safe schools. And right here is the time to pause and say thank you. The grants that you have given, allowing for us to have safe schools, are really important. And we were one of those districts that not only took the allocation, but when there was money left over, we came and applied back because our commissioners helped fund, and we are fortunate to have a resource officer in all 54 of our physical locations. I can't tell you the difference that makes. Because when you think about our strategic plan that we published today, we start with healthy, safe, and responsible schools. I firmly believe it's hard for me to teach if I don't feel safe. It's hard for me to learn if I don't feel safe. And we are very fortunate here in Gaston County that we have 3 forms of law enforcement. We have the Sheriff's Department, but we have our own county police force, and they serve as our resource officers in our high schools and the majority of our middle schools. And then the local municipalities, our third wing, help us with in their respective areas with the elementary schools and to supplement the middle schools. So all that leads to a safe environment, which we think is very critical for people who want to innovate. And we know all that innovation goes towards college and career ready. But it also has to lead to developing a qualified workforce, because you can't have economic development if you don't have qualified people to deliver in the job market. So that leads us to innovative opportunities. And this is something that our board has been very supportive of. Beginning in 2015, with a lot of the feedback we were getting, people wanted to hear about what are our options, what are our choice. You heard Dr. Hufstetter talk about 200 students and representing all of our feeder areas in this community coming. Well, we started with our first, with a career academy at Hunter Huss High School. And at that career academy, every CTE module that is authorized and offered in the state of North Carolina is a part of their academic curriculum at that school. Think about that. That's the investment this community has made in saying, what can we do to raise the standards in our community? And Hunter Huss is an excellent place to go and see. It was the first place in the state of North Carolina that in a high school had a full fire academy. And we just go on from there with what's going on at the Career Academy at Hunter Huss. We have a Leadership Academy focused on the Leader in Me program with Stephen Covey and the 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. We have a Collegiate Prep Academy at one of our high schools with the Capstone Project. So all of you know what an AP class is, add another layer with having to do the capstone to it. And it's a very rigorous, important program for college-bound students. Again, another choice in our community. Gaston College developed a advanced manufacturing center. Spent a lot of money investing in it. But what good is it going to do if we don't deliver students that can do it? So we offer a technology and industrial engineering academy so that we can provide students that are then ready to go and work in partnership with the college for that. We are fortunate. We are a community that still has an independent healthcare provider in Caramont. And so working with Caramont, we created the Caramont Health Science Academy at East Gaston High School. Dynamic partnership with Gaston College and ultimately Belmont Abbey to provide a clear pathway for folks. And this is where it was an incredible meetings to sit down where Caramont came in, their human resources people, and displayed and said, here are all the jobs that we need. President and CEO of Caramont is here tonight, Chris Peak, a great partner, and he'll tell you, we have 600 openings. What can you do to help? Well, not only did they come to the table and show us openings, the college worked to say, how can we develop programs to provide these students an opportunity to get a viable employment at the end of their high school career. Caramont stepped in and said, what resources do you need? You get the people, we'll provide you the resources. And if you ever want to just be mesmerized by what is going on in high school, come and look at the investment they have made I was there 2 weeks ago, and the student, they have a lab table there that a body can come on electronic, they can turn it, dissect it. Amazing. It goes back a long way from the frogs we used to play with when I was in school. You can see I get excited as I start talking about these. How about a public service academy? Anybody think we need police officers? Anybody think we need some teachers? How about emergency medical personnel? We have a public service academy where we talk about the pride and the value of those jobs and what they can do. The county has come alongside us. We have a retired ambulance. We have a retired police car. So the kids get real hands-on application. That's part of choice in Gaston County. So you say, that's great, but how does it work? Well, here are our elementary school choice options now. Gifted and Talented at Pleasant Ridge, Hawks Nest STEAM Academy, and the Leadership Academy at Costner. We also offer a Leadership Academy at Carr, which is right down the road from here, but it's a full school, so we don't have a choice. But those two schools feed into the same middle school, which is WC Friday. So we have to prepare those students to feed into the choice there for the Leadership Academy. And so you see how these Leadership Academies are spread throughout. Dr. Hefstover talked about Stanley being a STEAM Academy. And each of these choices affords our community an input in their child's education, but also it's the student's opportunity to select what they want to learn. You all will hear as you go around the state, career and technical education. If I'm a completer, my graduation rate will approach 100% for completers. Well, that's because kids are getting to choose what they want to explore in their education, and we believe firmly in that. And those middle school choices then lead to these high school choice options. And you see throughout all that I've just been talking about in these, but at the bottom one are early colleges. We have two now. I'm going to talk a little further about the second one that we just opened this year. So these innovative opportunities, really you'll see a lot talking about career technical education. We believe in the value of career technical education, and you'll see our performance and what that generates. We also have 3 A+ schools, which are very exciting elementary schools where art is a focus of the curriculum, and it's integrated throughout. One of those schools is up right now for a Blue Ribbon Award. We also are a big user in Career and College Promise and the ability of our students. We have students in our traditional high schools graduating with 2-year degrees. You'll see a program that we've developed just for that in the Accelerated Academy. So at one of our largest high schools, we have offered a program through choice that you can enroll. We will make it in partnership with Gaston College that in a traditional 4-year school, you can graduate with a 2-year degree at the same time as your colleagues in the school will graduate with a high school degree. Not going to the early college and that's a special program, being a part of the comprehensive school. We're in our 3rd year, so we've got the juniors that are participating, and right now we're on target for 25 students to graduate next year with a high school degree and a 2-year degree. That's an exciting thing as a parent of 3 that had to pay for education. So what else is important about all these opportunities? Well, we are fortunate that in 2000, we have a National Blue Ribbon Magnet Highland School of Technology. People have come from all over the world to see the integrated curriculum that is offered at Highland School of Technology. And most every year, the graduation rate at Highland School of Technology is 100%. We had 1 year where one student didn't make it, so I can't say every year 100%. But I can tell you great things going at Highland School of Technology, National Blue Ribbon School. Our Gaston Early College, the first early college that we formed with Gaston College, is when the Charlotte Business Journal ranks the top high schools in the region, every year those 2 schools are in the top 5 of all the Charlotte region for the education they provide. So with those choices, we then added the Hawks Nest STEAM Academy. It's a countywide elementary school that is project-based instruction. If you ever want to come and just have a great afternoon, come when they're doing the cardboard project. And you'll see all the things that 4th graders, 3rd graders have created out of cardboard. It's an exciting time to be a part of and watch. And I know you all are looking at innovative educational strategies. I will say you can see a great example of that at Hawks Nest STEAM Academy of project-based learning. Pleasant Ridge, this is a great commitment by our community. We had 3 older schools, as I said, from the 50s, and we merged 3 schools into one brand new on the west side of our community, Pleasant Ridge Elementary School. And in developing that school, we built the school. There were 600 students in those 3 schools that were being served. We built the school for 800, and we created 200 choice seats. And this is the home of our academically and intellectually gifted program. And what's really neat about this school-wide enrichment model is on Friday they have enrichment clusters. And there are over 30 choices that children are given to, as they perform in the classroom, to have something that enriches them. And they decide a lot of times of what it is. If they can find a teacher to sponsor it, they'll learn it. So you'll see karate going on all the way to seeing sewing being taught. But it's for them to enrich and have a say in what they're doing, along with being an academically and intellectually gifted school. Stanley STEAM Academy. Dr. Hufstad covered that well, so I'll move right on. But she talked about kids taking devices home. And we've heard a lot about virtual learning. Well, we started the Gaston Virtual Academy 2 years prior to the pandemic, because what we saw in our community, again, getting feedback, is we have some students that the traditional model is not the right fit for. We have some nationally ranked equestrians. We have some nationally ranked gymnasts. We have nationally ranked people that are performing in the arts. They don't want the standard structure because they may be up at 4:30 in the morning doing conditioning, but they still want a quality education. So we started with the middle school area, and then we're growing the thing when we had this little thing called the pandemic. And so we had to go K-12 with that. And our virtual school during the pandemic peaked at just shy of 8,000 students. That's a total restructuring of the district, and I applaud our academic services team for the work that they did and our educators for the work they did. Because we had teachers that were teaching in a traditional brick and mortar, and we teach 2 classes in the virtual school to meet that. Then you say, well, that's great, but what are you doing now that's over? It's not over for us. It's part of the choice program. We still have almost 1,000 students that are utilizing the virtual academy. And we applaud you and your legislation that you allowed those of us who had a number for a virtual school prior to May, that we may maintain those. We actually had 3 numbers because we were doing an elementary, middle, and high, and we still operate 2 school numbers today for the K-3 and then for the 4-12. So thank you for supporting what I think is dynamic work in our school systems. So all that's going on in a pandemic, but we don't like to rest on our laurels. We started another early college because the partnership with Caramont is so strong, and they continue to develop needs and opportunities. So we applied and were awarded a second Gaston Early College of Medical Sciences. And that helped us begin another phase of choice. So we are up from where we started in 2015 with 6 choices to 21 choices in our community, because we believe choice equals opportunity. But that opportunity is nothing if we don't remember about collaborating. And for us, this is a diagram you've seen for career and technical education, but collaboration is really important with our business community. And we had a committee and talked about what was important. And you can see if you just pick one of the lines, these were the top 5 job needs in our community as identified by the business leaders. And then you go in and say, like the second line, the marketing. We offer marketing classes at Ashbrook, East Gaston, and South Montgomery, but so does Gaston College. We also use North Carolina Virtual Public School. We're one of your oversubscribers to North Carolina Virtual Public School, meaning you allocate so many dollars for us, our local dollars have to supplement, because we're not going to tell a student they can't have an option. And so we fund locally the shortfall of that. But each of these, you see where we went through and identified it, made sure we could meet, but our business community was saying the jobs that they needed. That's through partnerships. I've mentioned Caramont. I can't tell you how important that partnership is, because if you talk about CNAs, we have a CNA program in every one of our high schools. People come from across the state and say, how do you run such a robust CNA program? It's because of Caramont Health. Caramont Health commits to allowing our students to get the intern hours that they need for their licensure. And you and the state have reacted to Department of Public Instruction, helping us with how we assess the students and work, so that we've been able to grow that program. I put on Gaston and Nissan because they're a long-time partner, but all of our car dealerships afford us opportunities. Glass Plumbing and Heating, a locally owned 4th-generation business that grows. Again, they're at the table. GSM, saying, how can we help and what can we do? GSM comes to us and says, I would like to go get 4 students who are getting C's. in your career and technical education. I want to put them to work, show them the opportunity, and we'll grow with you to where they'll be aides. That's the commitment of our community. We have international companies here that we commit and partner with. But we also have a great 2-year institution here in Gaston College. And we have a great 4-year institution in Belmont Avenue. And I have with me tonight Dr. John Hooser, and I'm going to let him talk about how we've worked on the medical sciences. Dr. Hooser.
Thank you, Jeff, and thank you guys for your support of the North Carolina Community College system, and in specific Gaston College. We could not do what we do without you. You know that, and we look to be stronger partners as we move forward into this budget cycle and beyond. But what Dr. Booker's talking about is when I arrived here nearly 18 months ago, almost 2 years now actually, you know, I was just amazed at what was going on in the public school system. I was also amazed at what's going on in economic development in Gaston County. From January of 2021 till now, $650 million investments from expanding our new industries in this county, nearly 1,600 new jobs. Now, you all know what community colleges do. We put people to work. That's 1,600 new jobs on top of the existing industry that's here, that's thriving, manufacturing sector, healthcare sectors. So you could probably add another 1,500 on top of that. So you want to know what keeps me up at night? Is how the hell Gaston College is going to fill those jobs. But we do it because of partnerships. And that's what I love about what's going on here in Gaston County, is that industry's at the table with us. Higher education and public education is at the table with us. And now government is at the table with us, and that's you all, helping figure this out. So when you think about those total, let's say 3,000 jobs, how quick can a high school graduate without a degree that has a degree requirement, either 2-year or 4-year, how quick can they enter the workforce? Minimum 2 years. If they need a 4-year degree, it's a 4-year commitment. So while our manufacturing is outpacing everything and the growth that we are experiencing, and in healthcare, and in the service industry, I started thinking, wait a minute, we don't have a skills gap problem. This guy's got the #1 CTE program in the state of North Carolina. We have the #1 apprenticeship program in the state of North Carolina. But the direct entry is that point in which they graduate high school and can enter the workforce with certification, degrees, or diplomas. So what we've been working on in that partnership is how do we change that traditional model of education. You come out of high school, you go to community college, or you go to university. You're 2 years or 4 years out for that direct entry job that requires a degree requirement. Now they're doing a great job of filling the gaps in these positions that are needed, but we're focusing on economic mobility as well as you are. Our companies are needing those certifications. Chris Pick's sitting back here, and he's needing, the number goes up every day. He's building a brand new hospital. He's built a wing onto the existing hospital. That's hundreds of qualified nurses that have to pass a board exam. So the three of us sat down along with Belmont Abbey, we said, okay, wait a minute. What can we do different that's not the traditional way of doing things? So you create a different system. And that's what he's describing as a system where these elements and partners are around working together, and we're looking at different ways of that entry into the workforce quicker. Obviously skilled, obviously certified, obviously degree. So we do that through our Career and College Promise program. We do that through pre-apprenticeship programs, internships and apprenticeships. But what we're working on now will change, in our opinion, the way education is done in the future. And that's what you're asking for. And that's how we take high school students and our Career and College Promise. We infuse that with industry-led faculty. Our faculty partner with an industry leader in HVAC, plumbing, welding, whatever it may be, but they're in that classroom, so they're getting early visuals and information on these high school students that they don't get now. Correct? That's when you nod your head up and down. Because it's typically after they graduate high school, then we try to figure out where they're going to work at. This approach that he's just described to you with these academies marries well with our system in the community colleges, because we're partnered right with them hand in hand. Then you bring in the industry partner that is so valuable to this component, because they ask us all the time for people. So we've kind of reversed that and said, we need you. Have we not, Chris P? And he's responded. That's just one example. The other examples is what Dr. Booker's put on the screen. So we're having a lot of success in companies coming in and helping us to find what they need and how quick we can get our students into an employable future in a career. So we're working on that now. The example on the board is this early college high school, the only medical science early college in the state of North Carolina. We are in the process of working through expanding 3 more program offerings at the college, which will include respiratory, central sterile processing, healthcare informatics, and we'll continue to expand that out with athletics again as we get into health and fitness and wellness in our communities. Primary focus of what's going on, not only in this county, but the state of North Carolina and nationwide, is health and wellness. We've coupled that with a partnership with Belmont Avenue. So our goal, when Dr. Booker and Dr. Delafield are from Belmont Avenue, we meet once a month. Once a month, we talk about specific things, and sometimes it's talking about our families, but it's about that relationship that's important. It's about the relationship we have with Caramon. It's about the relationship we have with GSM and Roshan and all these other companies here. That's what's helping us be successful. But without that relationship, we couldn't move forward. So we've tied in universities. We set up 9 new university partnerships in the past 18 months, where our students can transfer immediately from us straight in as a junior at these universities in our neighboring areas. 2 of those are HBCUs with North Carolina's A&T University and Johnson C. Smith University. Then that blends right in with the academic and heads right into a career. So it's perfectly aligned. In 25 years in this system, I've never been a part of such a situation that this is perfectly aligned. But we can't do it without you. How do we need you? We need to upgrade our facilities on our campus, at the main campus in Dallas. We need to upgrade our equipment for simulation, because he being Chris Peak at Caramon, they can't take on but so many clinical sites, clinical students. That simulation is now helping us move that forward as we work with the Board of Nursing and so on and so forth with other boards to allow that simulation. That simulation is going to move this county forward. This facility will give the medical science high school an opportunity to track off in all kinds of different pathways. So your help and support on that, and Representative Torbert's going to be bringing something to you guys for your review, and it's coming. It's coming dropped in the mail today, as a matter of fact. And we've discussed this. It's a significant investment in Gaston College. And it's not just in the college. You have to think about that in that partnership. It's an investment in the public schools, it's an investment in the industry, it's an investment as a whole, as a community for a wellness center. So I'm going to be quiet now. The last thing I would say is we established the first, outside of the Triangle area, partnership with North Carolina State University, where we can do, it's called a C3 program. So students in Gaston County and Lincoln counties, which we serve, can come to Gaston College and be a duly enrolled student with NC State University, but be our student. They'll have an advisor at NC State, they'll have an advisor here. They can go on and get that final 2 years in NC State, but the first 2 years will be here in Gaston College. Thank you for this opportunity. Thank you, Dr. Booker.
Thank you, President.
And John mentioned our career technical education. You know, there's a lot of debate now about counting Perkins 4 classes, Perkins 5 classes. The last tabulation done in 19 and 20, Gaston County Schools had 14,986 credentials. You see, that's more than Wake County, which is 5 times our size, Cumberland, and we can go down the list. That's the work that our CTE faculty do with our students. But it's not just getting kids to earn credentials. Look at the percent earned, 219, meaning they earned more than one credential. And when this was presented to the State Board of Education, it was the first time any district had ever been number one in both of those categories. That's partnerships, that's great career and technical education teachers delivering education in Gaston County schools. We continue to say, how do we be innovative? A lot of folks will talk about career signing day, they talk about athletes and how they get all that. Well, we started having a career signing day for our student workers. And in 2018, the New York Times featured what we were doing. And that young man there will all leave him one day. As a high school sophomore, he began a masonry career, and he could have gone to any four-year university in this country, but the masonry career he is on, he'll have a lot of people working for him soon, because the partnership and the apprenticeship that he's able to do now that he has graduated and moving on is phenomenal, and that was a choice he made in our school system. We also know that our kids can't know what jobs they want to do if they're not exposed to them. So pre-COVID, we would load every student up in 8th grade, all 2,000 plus students, and take them out throughout the community and visit businesses. We give businesses an opportunity to brag on what they do, but it's also an opportunity to let them see what goes on, because we were a heavy manufacturing industry in the 90s, good old textiles, and people have an image of what that factory looked like then. But if you go to Parkdale Mills today and walk through one of their textile factories, it looks nothing like what it looked like in the 80s and 90s. It is a pristine. You go to Tyndall Ford and there's body shop or their normal mechanic area. You can eat off the floors. Kids need to see what that's all about. It's great to have girls seeing women in the workforce and that they're being successful. All of those positives come out of taking it. Now, our CTE director, that's the one day he doesn't sleep before and after because of the stress of doing all that. But it's an exciting thing. But we don't stop there. We also know our educators need to explore. So in the summer, we run educators in the workplace, and we partner with a lot of the businesses for our educators to go in and be exposed to what's going on so they can bring those real-life examples back into the classroom. And many communities have a manufacturing and career expo. But we're a community where we take students to Gaston College with expo set up, and we expose them through our transportation, providing it, and exploring, and being able to do that. Okay, so what does COVID do to something when you have these great programs? Well, we went virtual with it. So our 2021 was a virtual, and over 700 students participated. Now, the neat thing about virtual is you can track it. You click, you can record the clicks, and so you see those things. Same with our students at work. 19 different businesses created 23 videos that students could do it. And what was really great, that had been for 8th graders, but now we had seniors, and they were introduced, and we actually had seniors get jobs through this process. What we also know is the earlier we can expose students to career and technical education, the better. So this year we've been doing 5th grade awareness. This is a post that was done where we did one of our health visits to a school. But a typical visit, it's just 5 to 10 minutes of instructional video, but then it becomes hand-active interaction. You know, what kid doesn't want to play with the fire equipment? What student doesn't want the doll there to practice CPR? It's, again, hands-on and exposing them to what can be exciting in the future of their education. But we can't just focus on our students. The thing that I will implore with you, we've got to develop our faculty and our leadership. And we're fortunate we have 2 great education institutions in our community that partner with us every day, Gaston College and Belmont Abbey, but also we have Gardner-Webb University. So we created a leadership academy. And this year, we have 14 of our teachers that we are fully funding their tuition to get their administrator's license. And Representative Torbett, you're correct when you say some have gotten out of the classroom because it was a way to advance financially, but some have gotten out because they're great leaders and they want to lead beyond their classroom. They want to lead a school and be a part of that. And we're helping support that. And what's unique about this program with Gardner-Webb is not only are they going through the traditional Gardner-Webb education experience, but 3 Saturdays during each semester, they're in our facilities and we have our leaders teaching them and exposing them and giving them real-life applications while they're growing. So this is the 3 different modules that we try to say for our existing principals, the training we're giving, our assistant principals, and then developing these future leaders. But we all know we need teachers. So we have a teacher assistant program that we've just launched where we're going to fund 40 teacher assistants the opportunity to become teachers. We're in the process right now screening applicants. We have over 60 applicants for 40 positions because we've got to grow our own teachers. Again, we're fortunate to have the partners that will support us in doing that. So for us, it's important for you to know that we hear people talking about a profile of a graduate. We have long had a profile of a graduate in Gaston County, and it's been driven by what we heard from our community. And we hear all the time about skills. What skills? Well, we know what's critical thinking is the most important skill we can give our students, along with the knowledge. And you heard Dr. Upshaw talking about the character. That's an important part of education, and it goes on in our schools every day. So we're proud to already have a course for graduates. So when you hear Superintendent Truitt talking about, we know there's some systems already out there, we're one of those 11 she's talking about. Because we know that our role in education is to turn a mirror into a window of opportunity, because we want to inspire success and a lifetime of learning every day in our classrooms. Thank you for allowing me to talk about Gaston County Schools.